people who are sad or people who go through sad shit, they use that, especially when they're creative. It's like your fuel. Like, if something bad doesn't happen to me, it's like, what am I going to talk about? What am I going to do? I'm going to be happy. What event like this has caused you to contemplate your direction?
So last year in May, at the beginning of the month, I experienced like heartbreak for the first time, like for real, because it was like my first love. So it was also like my first real heartbreak. And then 2 weeks later, my best friend traumatically died. Maybe 3 days after my best friend died, I just got back into work. And I'm very much sometimes like a person where I overthink, and I'm like, am I just being lazy? Like, am I blaming what's going on, like, with being unproductive? And I just, like, covered myself in work, and I didn't talk about it, which was probably the worst part about it, because I felt like if I talked about it with my teammates or the people that I was around, it was going to cause them to be unmotivated or sad or, you know, bring down the energy. So I just kept it a secret. I just didn't talk about it. And then like 6 months later, I realized like I was contemplating suicide, and I like didn't feel anything. And I remember like sitting in the car and looking out the window on the way to the studio and being like, I haven't felt anything, like nothing, for so long.
This is Sad Boy Radio.
Go on, everybody. Welcome back to Sad Boy Radio. I'm your host, Matt, and today we got a really special guest. We've been chopping it up for like an hour already, so shit's cool, but go ahead.
So I'm Christina Baka. Most people know me as Baka. I'm a choreographer, creative director, and I also co-own KNVS House.
So go ahead and talk about how you got involved with KNVS real quick.
So I was hoping to move to Chicago just to learn how to start dancing, like being a hip-hop dancer. I would also like choreograph quinceañeras on the side. So I was like, maybe one day I could open up a dance studio and like choreograph quinces. So I moved out here and I started working as a mortgage loan consultant. And I was the administrative assistant as well. So I was learning a lot about business. And in that time, I met Alan, like just through Instagram, and his brother Jiggy had asked me to like dance with him because I had been posting more like dance videos of me going to class. And literally I went to dance with them for one show, and then instantly they just started hitting me up. And at the time it was Alan, Jiggy, and like maybe four other people. And it was just such a cool thing to me because it was a group of a bunch of different creatives, and they were all really tight, and they did shows all the time. And I was like, yo, this is something I didn't even think existed in Chicago.
But I mean, you're here now, right? You're doing what you want to do. And especially 4.5 years later, when you look back, that shit, it flies by.
So fast, yeah. Like, I feel like it was a whole different lifetime ago. Like, that was a whole life, and now I feel like I'm a new me.
How old are you?
I'm 23.
23?
Mm-hmm.
And you've been through so much, right? No, I'm playing. I'm playing, but make sure you go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe. You're not going to want to miss this one. All right, so let's just jump right into it, right? We've been chopping it up for a while.
I believe there's always a balance in between everything, like a spectrum. And I don't like asking people for shit because I've had someone, like, rub it in my face, like, I did all of this for you. And I didn't like that because it was like, if you feel like you made me, like, there's a problem. Like, what am I actually doing for myself? But then I realized, like, it is important to rely on your community to help you and to let you get to the next level. So right now I'm trying to find, like, a good balance between asking and not asking.
But the thing with you, like, with you guys is you have that built-in community where you guys are all close. Like, say you needed something from Hayward. Say you needed to get in contact with somebody he knows, right? You guys are all close enough to just be like, yo, like, plug me in with that person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like, me, yes, I do this, and I'm able to talk to people and be cool with them, but it's like we don't get to that personal level where it's like, yo, like, can you plug me with this person? Mm-hmm. And a lot of people offer, they'll be like, yo, like, if you ever need somebody, if you ever want me to put you in contact with somebody, let me know. But it's also like, how many times can you do that before it becomes like, oh, you're just hitting me up for this, you know?
Type shit. I feel that.
That's how I think about it.
I try to get to everyone, like, super personal. Unless your vibe doesn't really match with mine, I'd be kind of like staying in my pocket. But for the most part, whenever I meet somebody, I try to make it like very personal. Like, I know you, and now you're even like a part of our community. Like, you know what we're doing. I know what you're doing. So It's funny that you say that because I was trying to get contacts for someone, and I hit up my homie that does a lot of events for them, but like homie kinda. I had just met him a few times, and I was like, yo, I'm trying to get tapped in. Like, I know Alan would be a great performer for this. Da 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 da. Like, I would love to get their contact, and he was like, that's not how it works. And I was like, fuck. I was like, that's the first time someone said that to me. He said, that's not how it works. You have to work to get to who, because they're a big name in Chicago. And all literally for Chicago, San Diego, like they're all over. So me thinking like I'm still in my own community, I reached out to this person and he was like.
Yeah. But I respect that more than someone's being like, yeah, I got you. Mm-hmm. And then never like hits you up.
Okay, yeah. That's true.
As far as like Alan's a homie, like legit. I prefer like having a relationship where it's on a personal level rather than telling him like, yo, like, what's up? You know what I'm saying? Let's get back to it, right? So we were talking about this earlier, and you also mentioned it, like being a creative, right? I took a song from Alan actually, That Feeling. He says, my dreams is haunting me. Show me what I want to be. Show me what I'm going to be. Show me everything I'm going to be. Before I wake up enslaved to a job that don't put much up on my pay stub. Mm-hmm. As a creative, right, you're working towards something. You're working. And sometimes it feels like you're never going to get it because now you got to come up with a new plan. And if that plan fails, what do you do next? And as a creative, you got to think, okay, how can I make money off of this shit? Otherwise, I got to go to that job that I fucking hate. They don't fucking pay me enough to do this shit. Now I'm working 2 jobs because I'm a creative and I'm also working, right? That doubt starts to set in and you're like, fuck, like, when is it going to pay off? And I know for you got your community, but as a person for yourself, right? What have you had to learn about yourself to overcome these specific obstacles where it's like doubts continuing?
I think I had to stop taking everything so seriously. I used to take everything like seriously to the point where I would like wake up and that's all I was doing, trying to figure it out. And I had these super extreme high expectations for myself. And when they weren't being accomplished, I was just like, yo, like, what am I going to do? I'm still not making all of my rent just being a dancer. And what I had to really sit down and do was like, okay, let me minimize my goals a little bit. Let me be more realistic on what I can do in the next 6 months and what I can do in the next year and what I can do in the next 3 years. And once I started being more analytical about, okay, maybe I can't be Travis Scott's background dancer in a year. Let me be realistic. What can I do to get there? I have to learn about marketing. I have to learn about, building a team. I have to learn about wardrobe, like so many different things. And then once you learn about everything and then you start to adapt yourself into like actually working on it, you see yourself growing naturally rather than me being so serious on like, I got to be the best. I had to just like bring it back and be like, let me live in the moment. Let me be happy. And then also follow my passion and understand that it's also my business. So I would say just stop taking everything so seriously, but also be real with yourself about what you can accomplish and when you can accomplish it. Because always waking up in the morning and being like, I'm going to be Drake's background dancer. There's really no like goal setting there. It's more like false hopes, you know? And then also work with people that you feel comfortable with. And this is something we were talking about earlier too. Like I started hating dancing because I was only dancing to music that was paying me that I didn't like. And then I saw my dancers didn't like it either, and it created like this weird energy. So I really had to like focus and make sure that every job that I'm booking, it's not a job that's making me step away from my morals. It's not a job that's making me step away from even what I like to listen to, because creatively, like in general, I'm a creative. I love to listen to music. I love to dance. I love to talk. I love to just create things. So if I'm going against my grain creatively, that's when everything starts getting like blurry. So that's another really big thing is like work with people that make you happy and that make you want to keep progressing and keep inspiring you.
Mm-hmm. I felt that on a new level.
Because you will be very like lost in the sauce trying to always be that businesswoman. It's not always that.
And it's also just like trying to please everybody that you're working with, right? Because as a business, it's your obligation to make sure that what they're paying for is satisfactory, right? That they like what they're getting. Right. but you also want to stick to what you do. You want to make sure that what you're putting out relates to you. That's just what I was telling you right now. Is like when that episode hits for me, it's like, damn, that shit hit. That's a hit. Put it out.
Because it's genuine. You feel me? It's genuine and you feel it and it's real rather than like I'm really trying hard. And I feel like that even transpires into relationships. Like when you meet somebody and they're trying way too hard to be the homie, and it's like I really just like people that come up to you with like you don't feel like there's an agenda, there's anything. It's just real personal. You know what I'm saying? Like what's good type vibes.
That's one of the harder things that I have of reading is like, when is it just genuine and when is it like, oh, like what does this person want, right? And that's just what we were talking about. But for me, it's like I don't ever want to come off as like, oh, I want something from you. And that's hard because people always think that you want something from them, no matter what it is. I don't know, man. I just always go back to that it's like if I text you to check up on you, that's because like I genuinely care. Like I want to know how you're doing. Like, I'm gonna support you no matter what. Like whether you fucking tell me like you don't want to talk or not, I'm just, I'm gonna be me. That trait that you developed in making sure how to define that
balance,
how to define that divide, right? How has that trait helped you advance business wise?
Honestly, I base a lot of my work off like my moral compass. So I feel like if it's anything that would be, and also I have to think about the group of ladies that I work with. I work with a group of about, I like 5 to 6 ladies. They dance with me, they model with me. So not only do I have to think outside of my moral compass, I have to also be thinking outside of what they're going to feel comfortable doing. If I feel like it's a job that, it's going to pay us good, I know they need to pay their bills, and it might not be our favorite song, but it's going to get us somewhere, a little bit of cash, then I'll be okay with it. But as long as I feel like they're not going to be comfortable doing something or I'm not going to be comfortable doing something, then I just don't even take up the job. Just because it's just not worth it, honestly. I don't want to leave my job ever feeling like I'm at a 9 to 5 doing some shit I don't want to do. And I think that's the hard part sometimes, because sometimes the jobs you don't want to do pay the best. And you just have to say no.
How do you get these jobs?
Kind of like what you said earlier. At first, when I first started, I was very much like reach out. Like I would spend hours on Instagram like, hey, I'm Baka, I'm a choreographer in Chicago, like I love your music. And I would like sit there and listen to artist music, like at least 3 or 4 songs, and study them and be like, okay, I like this person, let me reach out to them. And that was about for like 6 months that I did that. And I kind of, after those 6 months, I kind of took a step back and just started developing my actual technique as a dancer. And because I had planted all those seeds, it just kind of like people just started reaching out to me. And also I started taking Instagram seriously. I used to be afraid of being egotistical or being looked at like as I was like super like into myself because I was always posting. But I met some people that were like, yo, this is actually my everyday job. Like I make $5,000 off Instagram a day just posting videos. You can be doing that, And I had to take myself out of that and be like, let me take my social media seriously and treat it like a real business. And let me also develop myself as a person and develop myself as a dancer. And once I did all those 3 things, honestly, like people just started hitting me up all the time. Like, hey, I need dancers for this. I need dancers for this. And then 4 months ago, I developed the team, Crew. It's an extension of KNVS. And as soon as people saw me with a team of girls, it was just like everybody was like, yo, I need dancers. Yo, I need dancers. I need dancers. Because before I was alone or with one other girl or with a few dancers. But I think once people really see you brand something, they're like, those are the people I want. And also the team is a very diverse group of women. We have even like non-binary women on there, so you can kind of get every little the taste of the rainbow. So I think it was really about like setting the team, setting my intentions, and just like maneuvering with that.
It wasn't Crew the original name of KNVS?
Yeah.
Is that why you did that?
No. So I started the team just as a training team. Like I just wanted a few girls dance because I was getting booked for stuff, and then I would have to like grab girls and be like, okay, look, I have to show this choreography. We have 1 week to rehearse. So I was like, let me create a team. We have like 10 choreographies. If we ever get booked, we can throw in whatever we can throw in. So I started training with them, and literally like 2 weeks later, we got booked for like 5 shows. And people kept asking me, like, what's the name of your group? What's the name of your group? And so I was talking to the girls, and I was like, I want to do something creative where like it kind of goes with Canvas, because like that's home, you know, like I'm Canvas, Canvas is me, like Canvas is everything. So I was trying to think of something that started with a C, but we could change it into a K so it could go into it. And we thought of like so many names, but the thing that stuck the most was Crew.
What were the other names? Off the top of your head.
Cats was one. Fucking, what was another one? Escorts was like the one that everyone kept saying as a joke. We just thought of a whole bunch of funny shit. We really couldn't think of anything serious. It was just like, we were just laughing about it so much. And I was like, I think Crew is a great representation, because there's like our core group of Canvas, which is like all the different types of creatives, but the goal is for everyone to create their own communities between those, you know, creative cultures. And this was my avenue of it. So when you think of Canvas, there's a crew. It's a dance crew, and that's what we are.
I like that.
Thank you.
I like that meaning, yeah.
But it was funny because me and Alan had a whole moment. We were like, bro, like the runaround, like you started Canvas as Crew, and then like I branched out and started my own little community of dancers, because we used to like want everyone to be a part of the core group of Canvas, but there would be dancers that would be like, yo, I'm not trying to do all that. Like, that's a lot of work. Like, I just really just want to come here and dance. And that was a lesson Alan and I had to learn, because we'd be like, okay, like, you want to be a dancer, but come do all the shit that we're doing. And, like, Alan and I are tapped into the cinematography and the music and the events and the, you know, just business of it. And I really had to take a step back and realize some people just want to dance. And that's a beautiful thing, to just, like, really be passionate about dancing. So, we just got to respect those people and guide them into their best dance journey that they can. And eventually, like, Janet is one of the people that has really stuck out to me, and being like, I want to do more than dance. I'm a businesswoman. Like, I want to hustle. I want to get into different avenues. So it's kind of almost like a stepping block also, like coming through the dance community. And if you really want to be a part of the core group of Canvas and the business of it, that was kind of like your stepping block into it, rather than just getting thrown in, because it is a lot. It's a lot. So the dance thing is just kind of like a nice wave in, you know.
How do you feel like being a part of that core group has helped you? Or like, how do you feel like it's helped you, and what negative aspects do you see to it?
It's helped me in the way that I've really developed to be accountable. I've developed to be witty, like smart, like on my feet. I've developed to really learn what it means to care about other people and their goals. And just in general, I come from a big family. Like, I grew up, I'm the last of 6, and then the oldest of 2, I like to say, because my siblings had kids when they were really young. So I'm used to being in a pack, and that's my pack in a way, you know. I would say, I wouldn't necessarily say there's anything negative about it. The only thing that I've struggled with, I would say, is like bringing people into the team and then having them exit. It's just like, as a leader, it makes you like really rethink yourself and be like, what am I doing wrong? Like, I'm very much like, if something goes wrong, I look at myself first. Like, what did I do not to cause this to happen? And then you just have to realize, like, some people just aren't meant for it at that time of life, or some people are just meant to start their own thing, you know? So that's something that I really had to come to terms with, was like, not everyone's meant to always be here, but even if I was able to open up a door or show them something different about life, that's the role I played in their life. And I'm still very thankful for all those relationships that came in and sometimes left.
Yeah.
Because when you own a business, like, it's very serious, you know? So, like, you can't have people dicking around too much. You gotta, it's like a friend group. There's always that friend that's kind of like a little toxic, and you're like, okay, we can deal with you because you're the homie. But, like, when it comes to being in a business, like, unfortunately, you are cut. And you got to get out of here.
She said, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
But, yeah, I think that was, like, the biggest thing I struggled with. But I'm learning to be better at it and just be more accepting of it.
I think overall, just, like, when it almost feels like it's a failure, right? Because it's like, damn, the shit that I put together, like, it just failed. And now it's, okay, let's go back to the drawing board. What did we do wrong? How do I fix it? And sometimes there's really no solution, right? Because you could be doing everything right. Just that's not the lifestyle that's meant for certain people. And especially because, I mean, I don't want to, like, I don't want it to feel like I'm judging you guys, right? Because that's not what it is. Yeah. But you guys do a lot. So, just like you said, sometimes it's not meant for this person. Sometimes this person just wants to do this. And you also got to make sure that people are buying into what you guys believe in, right? Because if people aren't buying into it, then really what are they around for?
Absolutely. And the way that KNVS holds itself is we're a very, like, moral-based community. Like, I've gone around a lot of other communities, and it's more about, like, clout or making money or getting here, and really, like, our biggest thing is just, like, building community and building people around us. And I think the beautiful thing about Alan and I's partnership is, like, I was raised in a pack, so I'm used to being in a pack. That's just natural for me, and Alan wasn't. So he looks for that, you know what I'm saying? Like, he wants it. And together, when we were able to come together, we started bringing so many different people from different avenues. And, like, we just really like to make sure that everybody always feels at home when they're with us. And if not, we're very much like, we'll find you a new home. We used to live in the loft, and the loft is, like, we called it the orphanage because literally, like, people would just come and live for, like, a month or two, and, like, some people would find their creative avenue living with us, and then some people would be like, yo, like, this is a lot. Like, I'm not sure if I'm ready for this, but we've always just been really open to having more people come in and, like, see what it's like, because, again, how I said at the beginning, a lot of us aren't taught that, and a lot of us don't have the role models to be like, you can branch off and do your own thing. So that's really, like, what we like to do is just teach people, like, it's very much possible.
You guys give them, like, options, and just, like, I really liked what you said about, like, the role models and shit, because you really don't have that opportunity to see people do it, right? Vic was the first person that, like, allowed me to come to the studio and be like, yo, like, this is what's possible. And you don't get that a lot of the times. A lot of the times you'll reach out to somebody, say, hey, I want to learn from you, or I want to be in the studio.
The gatekeepers?
Yeah, and they're like,
nah, you're not here yet. And it's like, honestly, we've gotten hate for it because, like, I know, like, we headlined World of Dance last year, and I know some dancers that have been in the dance community for years, and they've been waiting for that opportunity. They kind of looked at us like, because we gave the opportunity to a bunch of underdog dancers. I pretty much just found the dancers that I felt like wanted to be a part of the community but didn't necessarily know how or didn't have all the connections. And I was like, look, just come train with us for the next 3 months and you'll get to headline World of Dance, but just take it seriously. And I think everyone's just so used to, like, oh, I want it, like, you need to get here to here to here to here to finally be able to get to the big top notch. But we like to cut the line. You know what I'm saying? Like, we cut the line because we have so much community, and also we're so willing to share, and we're so key holders. Like, if you need something, I got you, and if I need something, I got you. And that's why it always feels like we're unstoppable. Like, whenever I have an idea, I never feel like it's too big of an idea because I got 50 people behind me. There's no idea that's too big at this point, So I think that's what makes us, as KNVS, very special.
What would you say is the biggest idea that you've had that you were able to successfully complete?
I would say, so Indie Media threw a fashion show, and they wanted me to be one of the choreographers, but instead of choreographing the whole thing with a bunch of people I didn't necessarily, like, know too much, I just asked if we could have the ending of the show. So give me 10 minutes, and I'll throw, like, something really cool together. And so I got 3 different clothing brands, 3 different music artists, I think 5 different models, and I would say like 12 different dancers. And we threw an interactive fashion show. So it was just like highlighting a bunch of different cultures, a bunch of different art, a bunch of different music, a bunch of different models. And when I first thought of the idea, I was like, yo, this is kind of far-fetched. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know who's going to listen. You know what I'm saying? Because bringing people to rehearse is a whole nother thing. Like, I feel like the day of the show, everybody's like, oh, this is cool. But the preparation for these shows be so intense, especially when there's dancing and, you got to coordinate the artist. So I just, like, put I got my little notes together and I organized it as best as I could. And watching it come to life was the most beautiful thing. Like, I got to see the clothing brands like start connecting with the music artists, and the music artists start connecting with the dancers, and the dancers were connecting with the models. And I felt like for the first time I was able to curate an event where so many different forms of avenues were able to talk to each other, perform together, and then we were also able to inspire other people to step out of their comfort zone. Because I think a lot of people are so used to being like, well, I'm a dancer, I'm only going to meet dancers. I make podcasts, I'm only going to meet podcasts. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it was very beautiful to create a space where people were like, hey, I want to get to know everybody. I want to know everybody. So that was something that I was super proud of myself. And hopefully by the end of the summer, we'll throw a whole like hour set. And I'm hoping that the theme is culture. So we'll have culture with a K. You just thought of that. I'm not even finna steal that for culture with a K. But yeah, that's what I would say was like my biggest. And it was only because I had a community with me, you know, and I remember the studio, Indie Media, was closer to where everyone was at, so we were using the space. And the owner came up to me, he was like, how do you get so many people to do shit like this? And I was like, honestly, they're all my friends. Like, I'm really cool with everybody, and people believe in what I got going on. And also I took this from Tanya the other day because we were doing like yoga in the morning, and she was like, people will always follow the movement better if you take yourself seriously. Because I know I've walked into rehearsals where the choreographer, the director is like unsure and they're kind of like all over the place, and it makes me feel the same way. But when I walk into a place where like they're serious and they're taking themselves serious, especially if it's a woman of color, like I feel so inspired. Like now I know I have to take it serious. Like this is a big deal. No matter what we're doing, I'm going to take this shit seriously because the person I'm supposed to be looking at is taking it seriously. And that's what I've just kind of been reflecting on myself a lot. We're going to have interns this summer, and I have like 15 or 20 of them. And like, I just have to like really step into a whole nother seriousness of myself to make sure that I'm developing these young kids to be the best version of themselves at the end of the summer that they can be by taking myself seriously.
Damn, 15 to 20. How does that make you feel?
It makes me really excited. I really like to organize things, and I really like to I love to give other people opportunity, and I'm big on being a voice for someone that has never had that voice. Like I said, when I moved here, I had never seen what it means to be a professional dancer or a choreographer. So I didn't know that was even a thing. So when I started seeing other people doing it, and people like me that look like me in power with money, like I was so inspired. Like I was like, yo, that can actually be me, because where I grew up, it was just white people. And the only time I would see Latino people was working at restaurants, working as a janitors. So me, I'm in 4th grade thinking, what does it mean to be Latino? It means to be poor. You know what I'm saying? I only see rich people be white. I only see successful people be white. I'm only being taught that white people are successful in school. So that's why I'm so grateful to move to Chicago. Like Chicago taught me, like, I worked for Cash Drop. We were talking about it earlier, and he was an immigrant. And he created this beautiful empire for him and his family to be able to be self-sustainable. And that was the most, like, literally, I literally cried after the event. Like, because not only did I was able to serve my girls an opportunity to work and make good money, but being able to see an immigrant do something like I would love to do for my family is just build residual wealth, and everyone's, everyone's making money and happy. It was just so inspiring to see someone like that, and young. It was a whole bunch of young, rich-ass Latino business owners, and that shit was beautiful as fuck.
Man, I just never thought of it the way that you thought of it, right? Because growing up, I always saw, like I was telling you, my neighborhood's so diverse that I see people of color, they got some sort of money, right? But to think that a Hispanic person could only ever be broke or ever be poor, right? That shit never crossed my mind. And to me, that's probably because of how I grew up, right? I lived comfortably, or I grew up comfortably. I was never, oh, we're going to go broke, or, oh, this shit's going to happen to us. And that's definitely a blessing, right?
Yeah, and that's why it's really important to, like, just understand everybody and the journey that they're going through. And I used to be my biggest pet peeve is lazy people. Because I grew up with my mom, like, working all fucking day. Like, my siblings working hardest. Everyone around me just worked really hard for the minimum. So when I saw lazy people, I get like, it's almost like makes my blood boil. Like, let's go, let's move it. And I had to start realizing, like, not everyone was raised in the way that I was raised. And once you start realizing that, it just kind of like switches your perspective and then makes you almost a better leader because you're able to adapt to every person that you come in contact with. Like, okay, this person needs X amount of developing. This person needs X, Z, or Y amount of developing. So it's just really important to understand, like, your struggles aren't less than mine. They're just different.
All right, let's pull the curtain back a little bit, right? You talked about pursuing your dreams while also dealing with trauma, dealing with heartbreak, dealing with all these other things, right? And that shit's crazy, bro. I was just talking to Abel about it. You know, we just talked about Abel. That shout out Abel. Hey, Abel, I'm gonna send you this shit. But when I think about that, it's like you mentioned going through that shit, right? To me, I'm like, damn, that's fuel. And I just read somebody's Instagram post. It was my boy Cool. I just interviewed him too. And it's like people who are sad or people who go through sad shit, they use that, especially when they're creative. It's like your fuel. Like, if something bad doesn't happen to me, it's like, what am I going to talk about? What am I going to do? I'm going to be happy. What event like this has caused you to contemplate your direction?
So last year in May, at the beginning of the month, I experienced like heartbreak for the first time, like for real, because it was like my first love. So it was also like my first real heartbreak. And then 2 weeks later, my best friend traumatically died. And it was also my first death ever. So the month of May, bless you, yeah. The month of May was super bad for me. And then I'm very much a workaholic. And so I just covered it up in work. I was just like, literally the day after I broke up with my boyfriend, I woke up and I was like, all right, everybody, let's go to the studio. We're going to work really hard today. And it was like, that was my way of covering it up. And then
you definitely like worked them into the ground that day.
Yeah, no,
they definitely hated your ass.
No, I was like, we just got to work. And I remember one of my best friends, Tori, was like, are you okay? And I was like, what are you talking about? I'm fine. And he was just like, this bitch is crazy. And maybe 3 days after my best friend died, I just got back into work. And I was, I'm very much sometimes like a person where I overthink, and I'm like, am I just being lazy? Like, am I blaming what's going on, like, with being unproductive? And I just like covered myself in work, and I didn't talk about it, which was probably the worst part about it, because I felt like if I talked about it with my teammates or the people that I was around, it was going to cause them to be unmotivated or sad or, you know, bring down the energy. So I just kept it a secret. I just didn't talk about it. And then like 6 months later, I realized like I was contemplating suicide, and I like didn't feel anything. And I remember like sitting in the car and looking out the window on the way to the studio and being like, I haven't felt anything, like nothing, for so long. Like, what's the point of dancing? What's the point of anything? Like, so my traumatic moment really made me contemplate the point of everything. And I think it was because I didn't give myself the grace period of being like, I need to take a break. I need to hang out with my family. I need to come back to conclusion of who I am and what my morals are and how I move even through a hard time. And I think I was trying to be so tunnel vision into my goals and who I was meant to be that I didn't allow myself to grieve and be a human. And months later, that like really caught up with me, and I caught myself in bad relationships and bad situations, and I was like, damn, like I tweaked. Like I was so clouded, I was just letting myself like kind of roll through things, and I wasn't being like my responsible self, you know. And it wasn't until January that I was able to like, I went on a vacation with my mom and my sister, which like those are like the two, and my little brother, which are like the three closest people to me ever. And I went for a 9-day vacation, and I was just completely honest with them. I cried like so much. And when I came back home, I literally changed everything about myself. I was like, that was the first time in almost 8 months I was able to be honest, and I was able to take a step back and breathe and step away from my career. Like I was just for real being honest with myself. And honestly, like the last, June now? Like the last 4 months have been super beautiful because I'm being honest with myself and I'm being honest with the people around me. And if I'm having a bad day, I'll talk about it. You know, I won't overly sit there and be like, like I won't sulk. But I've realized the importance of, if you're an entrepreneur, you have to understand when it's your time to take a break, when it's your time to talk about things, and when it's your time to give off energy. Because if you hide all of that, it's just going to build up, and it'll turn around to just be bad for yourself. But I think everyone deals with trauma in their own ways and grief in their own ways, and it's just about learning who you are and how you deal with those things and how you move forward. That would be like the biggest thing for me. I just didn't know how to talk about it. I didn't want to be like the Debbie Downer.
Oh, you're the energetic person, huh?
Yeah, like even sometimes when I have like a day where I'm tired, like just tired, like there'll be nothing wrong with me. I'm just tired because I've had a long day. People will come up to me and be like, bro, are you okay? What's going on with you? Are you fine? I'm like, yes, I'm just tired today. Fuck. Like I don't have to be on 10 all the time.
There's so much with that. There really is. And I've come to the point, I was just talking to him about it last week, where I was at this point where I couldn't really tell you what was wrong with me, and I couldn't even put it into words. I couldn't write about it. I felt like it was affecting how I was working at this point. And it was so fucked up because I didn't want to be like that. I was like, bro, like, I used to use this to fuel me. Like, if I was fucked up, if I had a problem, let me go write about it. Let me go rant about it. I couldn't even do that. And I still feel like I'm trying to come out of that shit, and I don't even know what's going on. Sometimes you're just in that slump, and it's like, fuck, how do I get out of this shit? You know what I'm saying?
It's like relying on the sadness a little bit.
Hey, low-key, I was just talking about it. I'm like, bro, like, once that sadness is gone, like, what do I got? Like, what am I going to talk about? You know, it's not like I can just come up with new shit.
Do you like being by yourself?
Well, being by myself in what way?
Like just being alone?
Just being alone?
Yeah.
I like to be active. I like to be doing shit.
Yeah, me too, but do you like to be alone? Like, can you spend like 3 days all by yourself?
Nah, I couldn't spend 3 days by myself. Fuck.
I think that's what like made me, because I was becoming super codependent on being around people. And then I was like, every time I wasn't around, because I was also out of a relationship, you know, so when you're in a relationship, you always got somebody around you. And then I moved out by myself, and for the first time I wasn't around people, and I would catch myself always FaceTiming somebody. Like, FaceTime would end, okay, I'm gonna go FaceTime my other friend, and let me FaceTime my other friend. And I was like, yo, I hate being by myself. Like, I can't sit in my mind by myself. And that's what really caused me to grow into, I think, a more mature person, because I was able to sit down and be like, what's the real reason I'm not okay with being by myself?
So what was the reason?
The real reason was because my love language is touch and words of comfort, and that's just how I was raised. Being the youngest, obviously everybody loves on you all day, and being all by myself made me like tweak. I don't know, it would just be like, I'd like look around and be like, damn, there's no one around me. And I don't know, now I just feel very comfortable in my like in people's absence. But it definitely didn't take away how much I love being around people.
3 days sounds excessive.
So I hope that by the time I turn like 30, I can go on like a retreat where like you can't talk for like a week, and you're not around anyone for a week, and it's like you cannot talk. That's just intense. It's so intense, but I feel like it would be so cool, just like super send out.
See,
Come back floating and shit. Like
that's why I'm saying, like, when you say, do you like being by yourself? Like, yeah, I like myself. I like myself enough to be by myself for a couple, like, hours. You know, maybe even the day I could just chill out and be like, yo, I'm not talking to anybody. But as far as, like, 3 days, 3 days is a little excessive.
Right, cry a little bit. Third day, like, I'm so bored. Fuck.
I would probably jump out a window if that shit happened to me, low-key.
Well, the thing about being alone is you start to really, like, realize what you like to do, you know? I think I'm always around people, so I like to adapt. I'll adapt to whatever anyone likes. And when I spend time by myself, I'll be like, I like to read books. And I like to.
Do you like to read for real?
Yeah, for real. Like, but I only like to read when I've been alone for a while. Like, I think it's like the noise of other people starts to cloud me sometimes. And when I've spent a lot of time with myself, it's like, I was like, okay, I really actually like to eat healthy, and I like to work out, and I like to meditate, and I like to read books, and I like to do all these things. But sometimes being around energy all the day, I like absorb it and then I'm giving it out all the time. So I don't really have enough time to really just sit by myself and realize like what do I like to do? Like what actually makes me happy outside of making other people happy. And I like reading books, like self-fulfillment books.
But yeah, honestly, I just feel like the greatest artists always use their pain to fuel, right? Nico Supremo, he used loss as his fuel. Alan, whenever, depression, he used for that feeling. Who else did I put? Bad Bunny, he used Amor Foda, heartbreak, like basic shit. But that's the shit that makes you like memorable. It's those moments that you're able to relate to people, and I feel like that's the beauty in it, right? The beauty in making music is that you're expressing yourself and people are relating to it. One of my favorite songs from Nico Supremo is Embrace, and he says, "Just seen you take your last breath. Now I'm lost. I don't see a clear path to move on. 'Cause day to day I can't see your face. Rather be you than be me and switch places." And I think about that a lot, is that like, damn, bro, you were down that bad at that moment that you were like, I'd rather it be me than you that's gone now. And that shit just hit, because I'm like, damn, bro, like, just think about that, right? Anybody can relate to that shit. And those sad moments that you have is like, you're so vulnerable. And I don't hear people making music like that, really, especially people who are not at, an international level. When you're at a local level, what are people singing about? About money, drugs,
bitches.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say it, but thank you. You said it. That's what people are talking about, because they want to be relatable. They want people to just see them for the fame, right? But you got people like that make real music that is gonna relate to people.
Absolutely. I feel like a big journey of finding my brand was being honest. I think when I first joined the dance industry, it was like really about, like always look like you're on top, always look like you're the best, always make sure there's good lighting and you're wearing the best outfit. And I tried that, and it was so ungenuine that it wasn't only not working for me, but it wasn't working for my brand. And it wasn't until I started showing myself cleaning the studio and like doing the work and like having those moments that weren't always so strong that people really started to like latch on and relate to me and support me as like fans, because I was being honest about what I go through as a Latina business owner, as a dancer. And I remember when I first like even stepped foot into the dance industry, I would look up dancer choreographer vlogs, because I wanted to know what these personalities were. I wanted to know what it meant to be a choreographer or to be a business owner, and I could never find anything, really. It would just be like people going to Starbucks, going to the show, going to sleep, and I'd be like, they didn't really show me much. And so now I like take a lot of pride in my brand being something that people can develop from. So they can go on my page and be like, oh, this is how she does it. Oh, this is the bad stuff she goes through. Like for me, health is a really big journey. Like for a few weeks, I'll be like super healthy and I'll work out every single day and I'll eat super healthy. And then I'll like eat hella fried chicken, and then I'll go to bed at like 5 a.m. and wake up later, and then I want to work out. But I think it's like being vulnerable with my supporters and my followers that has really helped me to like expand to the next level, because I just honestly think being phony was never a part of my plan. And like the like, I don't even want to say phony, because I know it works for some people, and I know like people make their living out of that, and I don't want to knock it. Honestly, like being like about that clout and about that money shit, like that shit's lame to me. Like honestly, like when I meet a guy and that's kind of like what they portray themselves off to me, like it's already like an instant like, I'm not into you, even as a friend, even as a person. Like I'm finna head out. But I like people that are genuine. I like people that have been through the struggle. I like people that know how to keep learning, because I feel like when you feel like you're that big dog and you feel like you got all the chains and all the bitches and all the money, like who are you for real? Do you know how to have a real conversation? Are you okay? Like, let's talk about stuff like that, And I think that's what really, like, supported my brand, is just being fucking real with people, Like, it takes a lot of fucking work to be where you want to be, but let me show you how to get there.
And people don't see the behind the scenes. They only see what you fucking portray.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that showing that behind the scenes is really important, because, like I said, not everybody's gonna know what's going on, right? You could be having the worst day of your life, but you're supposed to portray like, oh, I'm okay,
Absolutely.
which isn't the reality.
It's not the reality of things. And, you know, so you just kind of have to, again, I think life is all about finding your spectrum, finding your balance, and what makes me feel comfortable, what makes other people around me feel comfortable. Life is just such a perspective and such a spectrum. I think the older generation was really stuck on black and white. It's either this way or it's this way, and there's no in between. And like growing up, I've just really realized like not only is it my own spectrum, but I have to respect other people's spectrum. So if I'm at a 10 and someone's at a 6, I just have to respect that. Or if I'm at a 6 and I'm at a 10, I shouldn't be jealous or I shouldn't envy. I just should be admiring this person and being like, yo, these are skills that I need to develop for myself to be the better version of myself. And I think as women, we're like raised to be jealous of each other. Like when you grow up, I know for myself and a lot of the people I've been around, like when you get in a squabble with another girl, your mom's quick or your aunts or sisters are quick to be like, oh, she's just jealous of you. And that creates such a toxic idea because then you grow up always thinking someone's jealous of you and you don't really like turn around to look at yourself as like, am I the toxic one?
Are you the toxic one?
I've been the toxic one. I've been the dummy multiple times in my life, and like I don't regret it. I think I've learned a lot, and I think I'm the woman I am today because of all the mistakes I've made. But I've definitely been the toxic one, and I'm sure will be it a few more times in my learning process. But I take a lot of pride in like understanding who I am and what I'm meant to do, and like when I learn my lessons, I really like be sitting with myself and learning my lessons.
I fuck with you. Because, you know, you can call yourself toxic.
Hell yeah. If you can't call yourself toxic, you're toxic as fuck. Like, come on. We're all learning. We're all learning, especially if you're under the age of fucking 40. You don't know shit. Like, I'm 23 years old. There's no reason why I should be out here thinking I'm fucking up here. Like, I know I have so much to learn. I have so much to fuck up. And right after you fuck up with something, I feel like you're always like, oh, I fucking regret that. Like, I should have never done that. And
but it helps you.
It helps you grow up.
Yeah, it helps you grow. And that's the thing that I always want to focus on is that, like, okay, how did it help me? Rather than, damn, I really fucking did that. Man, you know how many nights after I, woke up and I'm like, fuck, why'd I do that shit?
Stupid.
I just hit him with the, it really be like that sometimes.
It really be like that sometimes, literally. Yes, it really do be like that. And I don't know. I think it's a beautiful thing to fuck up. It's a beautiful thing to learn from your fuck ups. Because I think a lot of people are like, it's okay to fuck up. And then they just keep fucking up over and over and over and over. And then I think that's how you get stuck in that loop. And that's for myself. I've seen older family members and older people get stuck in this loop where like they're just crabby and mad and sad. And
they're mad at the world.
Yeah. Just negative people, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, it's just because no one ever allowed you to grow outside of your mistakes. And everyone always just like boxed you in. If like you were doing this, that's just what you are. Like if you were a gangbanger when you were 14, that's what you are for the rest of your life. That's not true. Like my cousins and brothers were fucking Latin Kings, gangbangers, got deported, like shot people, stabbed people. Like growing up, like it was bad. And it wasn't until now they're older, they're like 26, 30. They have families, they have kids. And I'm like, yo, if the police would have shot them and killed them because they were doing that shit when they were kids, like they would have never had the opportunity to grow into these wonderful men that they are now for their family. And like that's what really makes me like almost enraged when I see these kids or like cops killing each other at such a young age, because like realistically these kids are just stuck in a system, and once they get older they like grow from it. And I've seen my family members grow from it. So like it's just very beautiful. To me it's very important to allow people to grow outside of the box that you've created for them, and not only other people but yourself.
I feel like you had a lot to say. I'm really happy that you came through. And you're just like super energetic, so thank you. Even though it's like 10:30 p.m. right now.
Thank you. This is my prime hours.
I told you where we at. You didn't
party,
give me
party, party. What do you mean? Where we at?
What the fuck does party, party, party mean? Bounce? When bounce is the move? You guys.
Look, my biggest motto is there's no boring people, there's just boring places. So
All right. Well, thank you. I really appreciate it. That's going to be all, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you guys go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Sad Boys For Real. Peace out.
This is Sad Boy Radio.